Recording in progress.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, welcome everyone to our first CCAP grantee workshop of this academic year. As I mentioned in our introductions, some of you are round one grantees receiving funds last year, and some of you are round two receiving grants this year. Some of you are both. And so we're happy to have you here. Career Ladders Project is providing these technical assistance workshops, and I'll go over some more of the services we're providing to you at no cost to you as part of assistance for your grant. And today's workshop, we're excited you're here. We're kicking off the year with promising practices in dual enrollment. We are recording. We will share this recording with you and with those who weren't able to attend today.
I'm just sending out another.
Please make sure you stay muted unless you're a presenter. Here's what we'll be doing together today. We've done our introductions. I'll do a little bit more introductions about Career Ladders Project, about the technical assistance that we're providing, and about CCAP dual enrollment, just to lay a good foundation for our presenters. I'm so excited to be joined today by amazing teams from both college and high school side to share their best practices in dual enrollment. So first, we'll hear from the Long Beach team from Long Beach City College and Long Beach Unified. Then we'll pause and make sure all of our attendees have time to ask questions and get answers. We will record those questions and answers in a Google document, which we will share with you along with the recording. So I'm sure you'll be writing down notes, but we'll make sure we get that to you as well. And then we have a team from Mendocino College and Fort Bragg High School who will be joining us to share their best practices and their dual enrollment program. We'll pause again for Q&A with Mendocino, and then we will close our workshop here together with a mentee activity just to gather some feedback from you and to make sure that we're in our next workshops and office hours that we are covering what you really need from us. If you have questions during the presentations, you may use the chat, but just remember, we're going to pause after each team's presentation to allow time for some Q&A, and those are always a bit more interactive if you want to unmute and we can get those questions from you, or we can answer them from the chat. So introducing the CLP team first, our Chief Program Officer from Career Ladders Project, Dr. Naomi Castro. Most of you know and love her, doing great dual enrollment work across the state and an absolute expert. She's not with us here today, but she passes along her hello. I'll be leading our workshop. I'm a director with Career Ladders Project. I feel silly saying my name when it's on my Zoom box, but I'm Kylie Campbell, and I've worked in dual enrollment or dual enrollment adjacent for about 10 years now, and I started on the high school side as a high school teacher and principal. So when it came to providing the technical assistance for our CCAP grantees and for K-12 districts, I've just been really excited to support you in your work and building your partnerships and relationships with the colleges to build your dual enrollment programs. I've worked on the community college side for the last 6 years, 5 or 6 years, I lost track, but working in both, again, it's been my pleasure to just help partnerships build those relationships and those pathways and the services for your students. And I'm joined by the amazing Jerry Alonso. So Jerry, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Alonso. I'm the Senior Program Associate here at CLP, Career Ladders Project. Nice being here and welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Jerry. And Jerry will be recording for us. She'll help monitor the chat, and she'll be recording our Q&A on that document. That, again, we will be sharing both the recording and the Q&A document with you and with those who were not able to attend. So thank you for all your hard work, Jerry. You are greatly appreciated. Now about Career Ladders Project. If you have not worked with or heard of CLP before, We are an organization. We are not part of the Chancellor's Office or the California Department of Education, but we do contract with both state agencies. We also contract with districts and colleges. So we are there to provide technical assistance in promoting. We're always focusing on equity. And even though this statement says community college, with dual enrollment work, that has included high schools and high school districts. As an organization in 2002, we started very deeply in pathways work and connecting K-12 to higher education. And so we see dual enrollment as an absolute avenue for equity and promoting those pathways and college completion and success. So we've done a lot of work in dual enrollment. However, it's not all we do. We do a lot of work with student success and counseling and supporting colleges and high schools really in their initiatives that they need additional expertise and assistance with. So we're here at no cost to you as a grantee, funded by the CDE's foundation to provide you this assistance. And should you need support, you can reach out to us. We are focusing in this support on dual enrollment. If you have grant specific questions, you would direct those to the CDE. Here is the technical assistance that Career Ladders Project has planned for this academic year. We'll have 3 virtual workshops that will include presenters from around the state. You're at the first one, so you're here for promising practices and dual enrollment. We have 2 great partnerships here to share their promising practices with you. Our next workshop will focus on access gaps in dual enrollment. So we're really focusing on the data we have access to, how to access the data you would need to see if there are gaps in access in your program. We'll be joined with a couple of partners for that presentation as well. And then our last one, which is next April, seems so far away, but we'll be here before we know it. We're going to dive into dual enrollment instructors and scheduling and a lot of the processes and questions and barriers we see around those 2 elements of the program. If you signed up for this workshop, then you also received the invitation for the other workshops. If you don't have calendar invites for these, please reach out to Jerry. She'll make sure to forward those. We know that you are often checking your calendar and following what it tells you to do. So we want to make sure that these are all on your workshop. Another option you can sign up for are for the bi-monthly drop-in office hours. These are less structured than the workshops. These are going to be for you to show up, ask the questions you might have encountered, discuss the barriers you have. Again, CLP is here to answer from a dual enrollment perspective. What do regulations say? What does Ed Code say? What are other partnerships doing and those practices across the state to support you in dual enrollment? But if you do have grant specific questions, when's our baseline data due? How do we change our budget? Those kinds of things. We can help direct those questions to the CDE as well. And then we're very excited. Last year, we did not have an in-person opportunity with CCAP grantees, but this year we will be leveraging the Dual Enrollment Equity Conference in February in Sacramento to provide a pre-conference workshop. Normally, the pre-conference workshops at the Dual Enrollment Equity Conference cost money to attend, but under this technical assistance that we're providing, this will be a free pre-conference workshop for CCAP grantees that you can register for. You still have to pay to register for the conference, but the pre-conference workshop will be free. So we hope if you're joining us for the conference, you'll also join us for that pre-conference session. And great question from Alana, can we attend the pre-conference if we're not also going to the full conference? We are going to monitor the registration. And so the conference will sell out itself. And if that happens and we still have room in the pre-conference workshop, we'll be sending out the option to attend the pre-conference only. And it will be a separate registration. There's not a way to sign up for the conference right now. and not also sign up for the full conference, only the pre-conference. So we're going to monitor registration, giving priority to those who are going to Sacramento for the conference. And then we will send out the option for pre-conference only if we have space, which we're thinking we will, but we'll monitor that and we will update everyone.
I got magic too.
Okay, then next thing here. So that was about our technical assistance we're providing. If you have other questions about the technical assistance, feel free to drop those in the chat or to email myself or Jerry. But before our amazing presenters start sharing their promising practices, we always like to do some level setting and talking about the different forms of dual enrollment and what truly is CCAP dual enrollment. So in receiving this funding, you may be new to CCAP dual enrollment, or you may be expanding your CCAP dual enrollment. Either way, legislation around CCAP dual enrollment has changed significantly over the last 10 years since the first bill, AB 288, was passed. So again, for some level setting, just looking at all these forms of dual enrollment and where does CCAP factor into that. You'll see on the chart on the screen that dual enrollment ranges on the left-hand side from highly structured forms of dual enrollment to the right-hand side, which are our less structured forms of dual enrollment. And as we get from highly structured to less structured, there's a pattern across the state actually from middle college high schools and early college high schools are the smallest population of dual enrollment. Those being because they are highly structured and because they are either a whole school site directly for certain students, serving a certain group of students. They're usually small schools. So those are on the highly structured side. And again, the smallest population of dual enrollment. CCAP dual enrollment is the fastest growing population of dual enrollment. With the funding and legislation behind CCAP, we're seeing it growing. And then the largest population of dual enrollment, you may also call this concurrent enrollment, is actually the less structured, where students from the high school can enroll at the college. So again, as we move from highly structured to less structured, it also grows from the smallest subset of dual enrollment to the largest. So some distinguishing differences about these. If you're a CCAP grantee, you may also be an early or middle college high school grantee for an early middle college high school or for a program. Legislation sets a middle college and an early college high school apart from a CCAP program or from a program in general by saying that it's an autonomous school with a CDE designation as a middle college or an early college high school. The focus for both is often and should be to mitigate a dropout rate for at-promise students, students who maybe are not on track for being bound to college, first-generation students, underrepresented students in dual enrollment and college. So having a set population that you're serving to serve or setting to serve with those programs. And many of these schools have associate degree completion opportunities for students. I have some questions. I'll go ahead and pause and answer here. So an early college program is distinct and separate from an early college high school. So yes, you can have an early college program within a high school or within a district that is not an autonomous school with a CDE designation. But Ed Code and Time and Accounting and the CDE do have some distinctions between the two that are important to note. So you can have an early college program. Some partnerships have what they call a middle college program as well. And again, that can be different from what a middle college high school would be. Ashley's question, does that mean a separate CDS code? Yes, and that would be something to file for and do through the California Department of Education if you have an autonomous and separate school. If you're running a program, you do not need a different CDS code. And Karen has a great question. Our legislators are trying to figure this out as well. There were some proposed bills in this legislative cycle to say, what is an early college program? What is a middle college program? We didn't see those go through successfully. So there's still some questions up in the air. What we will loosely define as a program is within a comprehensive school or a comprehensive district, having a program for a cohort of students that models an early college or a middle college model would be a program. Again, it's within a school. It's not an autonomous school of its own. And so as far as the minutes go, we can send out the question. Jerry, if you can capture these questions on the Q&A, we will send the CDE did update their time and accounting website to include programs. So we'll send that out to all of you to review for the distinction between the 180 minutes and the 240 minutes. And then this is something we will also dive more into our scheduling workshop. So we'll keep going here, but we'll send out that time and accounting link to make sure everyone has that information. Wow, lots of questions on the programs. I love it. Let's talk CCAP for a minute. What distinguishes a CCAP from a non-CCAP? When you have a CCAP agreement between a college and a high school, you need pathways defined. So the pathways actually need to be laid out. They need to be included in the agreement or in an addendum. There's some flexibility in what pathway means. And so you have to be able to show, according to legislation, that this pathway leads towards high school completion, preparation for transfer, CTE, or college and career exploration. So you have to be able to justify that the pathway meets the requirements of legislation. But in doing that, for the courses that are offered during the high school day, the legislation for CCAP allows you to close those classes to only the high school students. So that's one of the major differences between CCAP and non-CCAP. A non-CCAP partnership cannot close the dual enrollment courses, whether they're during or after the high school day. So in non-CCAP, those classes are going to be open to the community. And so we see the trend to CCAP dual enrollment, especially during the high school day, so that you're able to close those sections to your high school students. CCAP partnerships also include embedded supports between, which we'll hear about from our partners today, focusing on students who are not college bound or students who are underrepresented is noted in the legislation for CCAP. The legislation also says that the agreement will include data sharing. So how do you share the enrollment status of the students, the grades of the students, the progress of the students and completion and so on. Non-CCAP can be an MOU between the high school and the college that maybe doesn't meet all the requirements of a CCAP, but it's how they will govern their partnership. But still an agreement between the two would be set. And then the outside of that, if you don't have an agreement between the high school district and the college, legislation does still allow for a high school student with parent and high school consent to enroll in a community college, often done outside of their high school day. And these students who are navigating that process have what we like to call the college knowledge to be able to do this, to enroll in the college, to buy their textbook, to attend the class, interact with the instructor outside of an agreement and a partnership that's set between the high school and the college. One thing I did not note on here is the actual ed code. So I've referred to the CCAP ed code a couple of times. I will put the ed code number in the chat, and we'll make sure you get a link to that in the Q&A document that we'll send out. Okay, now that we've set the foundation on all those different definitions, I want to turn over to our first team that's here to present on their promising practices from Long Beach City College and Long Beach Unified School District. So I will be turning over the mic to the team to introduce themselves. And
Good
see. I'll
morning,
spell it.
everyone. It's so nice to share space with you all. My name is Lupe Pasillas, and I'm the Director of Outreach and Educational Partnerships at LBCC. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Lorraine Bluen.
Thank you, Lupe. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lorraine Bluen. I am the Matriculation Coordinator and Counselor at Long Beach City College. And I'll hand it over to Carol Ortega.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here with you all. My name is Carol Ortega. I work with Long Beach Unified School District. I'm the program administrator and course manager for the district, and I've worked in this space of dual enrollment for a really long time. Lorraine and I have a long history together working with one another, so I'll turn it over to Bonnie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bonnie Nahar, and I'm the K-12 Pathway Coordinator. So I serve Long Beach City College, but I'm hosted here at Long Beach Unified, so I get to collaborate and work between both systems. And so I think the next slide would be Carol.
Yes. So as I mentioned, I've worked in this space for a really long time. I worked with Long Beach Unified for 30 years, and I worked with Long Beach City College for at least 18 of those years. So as I get into the why of what we're doing with the CCAP, I just wanted to say that this is an existing partnership that we had prior to CCAP. We used to work under an MOU that allowed us to share information. We had a data sharing agreement prior. We would identify coursework that students would be most successful in. So all of that was prior to the CCAP. We have decided to move into the CCAP because we know that it provides some additional supports for our partners at Long Beach City College. And it was also to codify some of the things that we wanted to get into a written form, such as who's paying for books, what kind of services are we going to provide to students, what kind of services are we going to provide to our students with IEPs and 504s. So as many of you know, there is a statewide context that has really showcased dual enrollment in the last few years. And one of those is the governor's roadmap that indicates that all students will complete 12 units of college work prior to graduating from high school, which we know is a far reach, but we're up for the task. And then we know of the Chancellor's vision, Vision 2030, to increase the number of students who are participating in dual enrollment. So that's at the statewide level. Within Long Beach City College, Mike Munoz, the student superintendent and president, has a priority of increasing the dual enrollment within all of their departments, and they've included them in their strategic planning, the idea of dual enrollment, and as part of departmental plans. Now, for Long Beach Unified, our superintendent, and many of you may or may not know, we have a college promise compact here in Long Beach Unified School District with City and with Long Beach State. And so our presidents and superintendents are often in communication. And that was one of the areas that they decided about 3 years ago to really increase dual enrollment. As I mentioned, I've been doing this work for a really long time, but it was around 3 years ago that they got together and said that they wanted to expand dual enrollment. And so I went from a one-man show at Long Beach Unified to having a team of people at Long Beach Unified that we've been able to collaborate with Long Beach City College. And the reason for that priority is, as many of you know, in the K-12 setting, we have the California dashboard, and community college is one of those areas that we wanted to increase. So while we had been working on this, most of it had been around individual dual enrollment. And then we also had a previous program that predates our CCAP that we were trying to really focus on pathways. So we had some good numbers, but not the numbers that you would expect with the district our size. So now we're really going to be focusing on embedding the dual enrollment on our campuses. So when we had the MOU, we were not providing the dual enrollment classes on our campus. So with the change to CCAP, that's when we really shifted and started to open up the opportunity for our high schools and our pathways to think about how could they incorporate and provide access to students to take dual enrollment courses that are embedded in their current pathway, but also a supplement to what their current pathway is. And I do want to say that all of our schools are wall-to-wall linked learning pathways, which means that they have a technical core. And so that's where we're looking to include the expansion of dual enrollment. And so the benefits of the CCAP is really going to help us to move forward with that. So if we can go to the next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Lupe and Bonnie.
Thank you so much. So to contextualize the best practices that we put in place in partnership with LBUSD, we want to begin by sharing with you all the programming that we've made possible through CCAP programming. What you all see in this screen is the comprehensive list of dual enrollment programs that LBCC offers. For today's presentation, we will solely focus on CCAP programming, so I invite you all to take a look at columns 2 through 3 on the right-hand side of the screen. With that in mind, we're going to start with column 2, and that's early start dual enrollment. This programming opportunity is open to 9th through 10th grade students. This is in alignment with Vision 2030, specifically the 9th grade strategy that aims to engage our 9th grade students in coursework with the goal of helping them graduate with 12 units or more. As we think about this programming through early start dual enrollment, our goal is to be able to offer students a student development course series, which in the slides to come, we're going to share a little bit more about what that entails. As we segue to our next programming opportunity, I want to acknowledge the importance that we put in place to build a seamless bridge for our students. So with that in mind, as we think about this bridge, our second opportunity is our pathway embedded dual enrollment, still with LBUSD, but now our focus is on 11th and 12th grade students. These students, their coursework is designed to align with their linked learning pathway and may also include general education. As we think about dual enrollment programming, our most enhanced dual enrollment opportunity in partnership with LBUSD is our early college program. This programming opportunity offers wall-to-wall dual enrollment at Browning High School for 9th through 12th grade students with the purpose of helping students graduate with an associate degree for transfer in hospitality. As I set the stage on this information, now Bonnie Nahar will share more about the funding sources for these programs.
Thank you, Lupe. Yeah, just wanted to point out, so our early start dual enrollment and pathway embedded, those both fall under our CCAP grant. And then our early college would be our middle college and early college grant. And then just also wanted to add that the LBCC and LBUSD, they established that CCAP agreement around fall 2023. But Carol already mentioned that there has been partnerships way before this. So just wanted to add that information for our dual enrollment programs. And then I believe our next slide would be Carol is going to talk about our allocations.
Yes, so even though we've been working on creating expanded opportunities for our students in dual enrollment, what we have found is that there's a lot of additional supports that we've needed to incorporate to make sure that our students are successful, especially when you're talking about our early start program, which were those 9th grade students. And that was upon request of CCAP, CLP. So Naomi had a little bit to do with it, and and her partners to get us to include an early start. And so what we did was last year we started a program for 9th graders, and we focused on a suite of courses that was in the counseling realm. So we offer study skills, basically, career exploration, and our college orientation course. So that was the first course that we offered for our 9th graders, because we wanted to ease our students in. We didn't want to throw them into a course that was going to be too challenging, especially since they were just coming into high school and learning the ropes of being a high school student. We thought that those 3 courses would be appropriate for them and they would be successful. And we did find that they were very successful. So when we started that program, we started to really unfold all of the different supports that were needed to be able to make these students be successful. So we provided counselors last year as the main support person at each of the high schools where we offered the program, and they would actually go into the classroom and support the students during the class sessions and help the teachers. And so they became what we call a teacher of student support in addition to being a counselor. Because again, we wanted to wrap around these 9th graders because we wanted to make sure that they were being successful. So the facilitation and the onboarding of these counselors has been critical. Last year, we used existing staff This year, we were able to hire dual enrollment counselors for all of our comprehensive schools, and then one person to rotate between our smaller high schools. And so really getting them on board and making sure that they were aware of what dual enrollment was in the context of being embedded dual enrollment, because all of the people that we hired were experienced counselors, but they were most familiar with the individual dual enrollment. So we wanted to really lay the foundation for them to understand that what we're trying to grow and the way that we're trying to expand is through the embedded pathway work. Next, we are using our CCAP to provide onboarding for LBCC instructors, because we know that if they're not familiar with what the program is or what the expectations are, and just to change the frame, because many of these people are adjuncts and they're used to working with adults, but to work with a ninth grader who they can tend to be a little squirrely, you're talking about 13 and 14-year-olds. So to be able to provide them with that context and do that onboarding has been critical as well. And then we also bring the ECI team, which is the LBCC College Initiatives team, with our counselors, which is the COSA that you see on there. That's a counselor on special assignment. We bring them together so that they can collaborate and they can get on the same page, because the ECI team also sends support staff to each of their high schools. And so we want those people to really work in partnership with one another at the school site level. The next thing is providing PD for the college instructors and the TOS. So I mentioned that the counselors provided that role, the teacher of student support, but at Browning High School that Lupe also mentioned is we have teachers that are embedded, and that is their teaching assignment is to be, I don't want to say co-teacher, but because they're not co-teaching, because the faculty at Long Beach City College is responsible for the content and all of the instruction, but they're there to help support the students and bring the students along to make sure that they're doing what needs to be done to be successful in the class. Another wonderful thing that we've done with CCAP, and to address Kylie's question, we're round 1 and round 2 of CCAP. And so with our round 2, we requested funding so that we could hire a full-time dual enrollment program specialist, because we're a large district. We have 11 high schools. So to coordinate this program was a lot. And when we didn't have that key person last year, it fell on our entire team. And it was a real challenge. So now that we have that person hired, it's just been a world of difference. He's been able to manage that program succinctly and efficiently. So I think that's well spent money from our CCAP. And then at our middle college, the Browning Middle College, we also applied for the Middle Early College Grant, and we used that funding to provide the salary for 50% of the pathway coordinator, who is also 50% dual enrollment coordinator at Browning High School. And then we also pay for half of a teacher to help supplement having those TOSs in our classrooms, especially when you get into the freshmen really need it and the seniors really need it, right? Because when you're in a early college model, the majority of the classes they're taking their senior year are college level classes that count for both the ADT and high school graduation. So we have to ensure that those students are passing the classes so that they can graduate and also get their ADT. So we spend our money in that capacity as well. And then the last bullet that's on here has to do with our disabled students and students with IEPs and 504s. So we found that there was a real need, especially when you start to expand to an entire pathway or into an entire school like Browning Early College. You have more students who are participating in the dual enrollment classes that have IEPs and 504s. And how are we going to address those needs? So we put together some resources for parents. We had LBCC's DSPS come out to Browning High School and do a training for the parents so that they can understand that in order for students to participate in the DSPS at Long Beach City College, they had to opt in. And the parents were informed of what are the pros of doing that program versus only getting services through their IEP. So again, those are other ways that we have utilized and allocated the CCAP funding. So next we are going to move on, and Lupe is going to share a little bit more about our processes that we've been able to change throughout the CCAP endeavor.
Thank you. So now we're going to begin to share with you all our first best practice, and that's streamlined and accessible processes. This best practice is in alignment with our CCAP agreement and Assembly Bills 288 and Assembly Bill 2030, which aim to reduce barriers for students and promote access for underrepresented students. As we think about this, our two institutions have really prioritized engaging students that are students of color, students that may have an IEP 504 plan, and students that are low income. With this in mind, what you see reflected on the screen here is two key strategies that we've implemented to address those two pieces. So to begin with streamlined matriculation, we have prioritized in paring down our enrollment process. Prior to beginning our CCAP agreement last fall, we used to have a 10-step enrollment process. In consulting with our high school partners, they shared with us that it was extremely difficult for students to navigate that process alone. So we sat down together and were able to pare down the enrollment process to 4 steps, which include application, a one-time orientation completion, a dual enrollment form, and student self-registration. With this in mind, the enrollment process continues to be shortened as students participate in programming. We've been able to do that by one of our key strategies, which is reducing the number of times students have to complete the dual enrollment form. In alignment with Title V changes and our CCAP agreement, we have moved to a model where students only submit one dual enrollment form for all 4 years. With this in mind, students only submit that form one time, and thereafter they're just responsible for self-registering in the coursework that they'll be taking. Another enhancement that we've made to the dual enrollment process is the designee signature. So we were able to put in place an authorization letter from the assistant superintendent of our partnering district that authorizes students to participate in programming. This is significant because that allows students to submit the dual enrollment form by including their signature and their guardian signature, making it that much easier for students to participate in programming. So that takes us through streamlined matriculation. Now, addressing our students that may benefit from DSPS accommodations, which is the Office of Students with Disabilities at our college. Some of the ways that we've supported students in receiving these accommodations includes integrating language into our CCAP agreement, which really informs the way that we carry out our day-to-day operations. In addition to that, we've also added information into our dual enrollment form that allows students and parents to opt to release information, which allows us to case manage students through the DSPS onboarding process. Equally important, we have been really intentional to bring information to the high school sites. So we have held information sessions at the high school sites that are particularly designed for students and parents, as well as all other stakeholders on campus. We have complemented that as well to include a letter to students and parents to make them aware that this is an accommodation that they could receive through the college. With this in mind, as we think about these two best practices as it relates to streamlined and accessible matriculation, some of the important takeaways that we invite you all to consider is really to prioritize parent engagement, because once you're able to engage the parents and convince them of the benefits of participating in dual enrollment and really the wraparound supports that we're going to provide them, it really opens the door for access, particularly for our most underrepresented students. In addition to that, as we carried out all this work, we've been really intentional to scaffold supports for students so that they can continue to carry out this work as they participate in programming. And then finally, really as an administrative team that carries out this work, to be really intentional about interrogating the processes and procedures that we carry out in dual enrollment and eliminate barriers for students to participate in dual enrollment. And as we wrap up this screen, I just really want to acknowledge the folks that make this work happen on a day-to-day basis. I know today we have on this call the dual enrollment coordinators, interns, counselors, and so many more people. And I just want to say thank you so much, team, for making this work possible. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague who will talk about strategy number 2.
Thank you, Lupe. So we're going to talk about bridging high school and college cultures. And so one of the best practices is align course sequence. And so not just looking at pathway sequence, but considering other factors such as the grade level, or student grade level, college course difficulty, and so whether it's suitable or not. So those are some things that we're definitely looking at when we're in our meetings. And so also we're looking at some best practices is implementing joint faculty training. So an example is bringing LBUSD dual enrollment counselors with LBCC Early College Initiative team together for like an all-day professional development to learn both systems and set expectations. So this ensures that all are aligned to best support students. And then also onboarding LBCC instructors to provide high school site logistics, expectations, and we also provide time to collaborate with the teacher of support and or the dual enrollment counselor. Another best practice is holding monthly meetings. This is something that is also where we include our data-driven decision-making. So both LBCC and LBUSD have made it a priority to hold monthly meetings, keeping lines of communication open and using data-driven decision-making. This is where we're going to be able to allow the space to strategize and make adjustments based on the real-time insights and student performance. Also, let's see, decisions. So then our lessons learned. So one of the biggest takeaways is that the early and ongoing collaboration is absolutely crucial. And that's one thing I'll have to say to both LBSD and LBCC. They're really great about making sure that they're constantly having that open line of communication. And so starting those conversations early, maintaining strong partnerships, and so helps address these challenges, particularly around course sequence and alignment, and also faculty expectations and support. So this leads to a more unified approach where everyone from instructors to counselors are working together for student success. And then also I wanted to point out another lesson learned here is a gap analysis to inform GSPP grant. So we were able to look at different areas where we can provide more support for our students. And so we were able to strategize some ideas for our GSPP grant to also create that braided funding. And so by understanding where these gaps are, the district has been able to tailor their efforts and ensure that they align with the evolving needs of students and the goals of the grant. So this is something I can say that they've done really well with. And so it all starts with that open communication, that constant communication. And so those are some of the ways that they're bridging high school and college culture. And so our next slide, it looks like we have Lorraine, embedded student supports.
Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate it. So as you can see, there's a lot of collaboration and coordination that goes on prior to the student getting into the classroom. So what happens when the students are in the classroom and preparing for their classes in dual enrollment? So the embedded student supports is a holistic and family type of process that includes our interns, counselors, and of course the TOS, the teacher of student support. So our academic case management is implemented through the hiring of college interns. The college interns support students through the matriculation process, through application, orientation, and enrollment. So these interns are hands-on and work directly and intentionally with the students to ensure that they're meeting their steps. We find that could be some gaps along the way within that matriculation process. So in order for students not to fall off of that process, we make sure that the interns communicate with them and make sure that they're completing that application, submitting that dual enrollment form, completing the orientation, and then helping them through the registration process. Because if there's any challenges or barriers within just registering for the class, then we need to sort through that, and the interns help with that process. Then at dual enrollment counselors, on both sides of the house, we have dual enrollment counselors at LBCC and LBUSD. So at Long Beach City College, we recognized that it was important to have a team of LBCC counselors that are specifically assigned for dual enrollment. And the reason we thought that was most important is if we have a student navigate to the general counseling area, they could get lost in the process of trying to schedule the appointment, knowing what to ask. And then also sometimes the student wanted to bring their parent or their guardian with them. or a family member. With the dual enrollment counselors, we have a single appointment link, a single appointment link where the student can schedule appointments specifically with the dual enrollment counselor. There are nuances between what the needs of the high school student is and what the college student is. And because the student is in mingling their status as a high school student and a college student, the dual enrollment counselor needs to know what needs to happen on the high school side and the college side. So we do have the dual enrollment counselors at the college. We have a particular counselor at Browning High School who is at the site and teaches the foundational classes in counseling and guidance, and then also meets with the students and collaborates with the leadership at Browning High School, which we feel really is a cohesive component of the program. And then the teacher of student support, these are our LBUSD partners that are in the classroom. So when instructors are teaching the classes at the high school site, there is a teacher of support that is assigned to the class. They sit in the class and they have access to the learning management system, and they are able to monitor student progress if they're turning in their assignments. If there's any concerns within the class, the instructor of that course is able to communicate with the teacher of support and ask to intervene. And so the teacher can focus on teaching content while the TOS is focusing on behavioral issues, maybe absenteeism, or just submitting assignments. So that balance and communication and collaboration really helps with both sides of the house and with the student, the instructor, and for the high school. So through that, the lessons that we learned that for sure, the communication is so key. Not with the case managers, informing leadership of any challenges or barriers that are happening within the process. The counselors communicate together to ensure that students are successful in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. And then the teachers, it's just critical for them that they have a source of communication. If there's anything going on in the classroom, then they are able to either work with the interns, they definitely can reach out to the leadership team. So we have, or the coordinators to help them work through some of those challenges. And then the regular student engagement promotes academic success. So there's no way that a student can, move off of the road of their course progress. So there's always someone checking on them and also engaging the parents. It's important to help parents understand that their student is taking a college class and that there are certain commitments that they have that they want to make sure that they're staying on top of. And so with the parents' understanding of their student and being in a college level class, they can support their student as well. And we provide that for the parents so that they understand what their student is participating in, and then they can be successful as well. So with that, I want to turn it over back to Carol.
I know we're running short on time. I see Kylie has popped in, but I just want to say real quick, there's three major takeaways that we have. One is we know that our students need the comprehensive student support, and we would never create a dual enrollment opportunity without also providing that student support and those wraparound services. You've heard over and over that communication is key, and I have to say it's relationships, because even when we're having hard conversations, we know that we're doing it for the benefit of all of our students, and our feelings don't get hurt, and we just push through and try and create a better system for our students that is seamless. And then finally, this is hard work and this is expensive work, and so for anyone to think that you can just, implement a program without additional funding, that is not true. We have applied for all of the CCAPs. We have applied for GSPP, and we know that we need that extra money to make these programs sufficient and thrive for our students. Because again, without those student wraparound supports, we could fill classes. Long Beach Unified could fill classes. But that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in making sure that our students are successful in those classes. And so to do that, we need to make sure that we have the funding available to make this happen. And with all these current funding resources, we're showing what's possible, and then hopefully we'll be able to sustain beyond the grants. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kylie, and I think we have some questions. And thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie, Carol, Lorraine, and Lupe. And yes, we've had great questions come in the chat. Most of them your team has answered. So for those of you who did not hear at the beginning, we will be sending a typed question and answer document to everyone in attendance. Yeah. So I'm just going to go over the ones I did not. I think it's the latest one. Oh, and Lupe put her email in here, was on the step-by-step process. So it looks like the questions have been answered. We are running short on time. So we're going to send out the typed responses to all of the questions in the chat for attendees to defer back to. But before we have our Mendocino team join us, I want to thank the Long Beach team. I don't see my little reaction clappy hands, but here's my actual clapping hands and praise hands to say thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you, especially, ending with the encouragement. This is certainly a lot of work and a lot of years in the making, but what shines through are the hearts that you had in doing this for our students. And so incredible work. We'll be sure to share your answers and contact info if willing to share that in the Q&A doc we send out. So thank you. And thank you to our attendees for your great questions. We'll continue to capture those if you put those in the chat and get you answers. So with that, thank you, Long Beach team. I'm going to ask our Mendocino team to prepare here with introductions. I'm going to switch over the spotlight, but Amanda, if you're here, I'll go ahead and let you start with introductions, and I'll adjust those spotlights for us.
All right. Hi, folks. I'm coming to you from Mendocino College up in Northern California. We'll have fun maps here soon. And I'm in a smaller college, so we don't have still a designated dual enrollment person. So I get to do that as one of my many lovely hats. And my role is interesting as Dean of Centers. I get to oversee 3 of our center locations, and I oversee instruction, student services, facilities, everything you can think of. And that actually helps and is useful in supporting a holistic approach to dual enrollment. And I get to work with a lot of lovely schools, but today we're here with my partners at Fort Bragg High School. And we have our principal of Fort Bragg High School, Bruce, is here.
Welcome, everyone. Bruce Triplett, Fort Bragg High Principal. I'll turn it over to Tomas.
Hello, everyone. Tomas Sanchez. I'm a school counselor at Fort Bragg High School, and I'm also lucky enough to work for Mendocino College as an adjunct counselor.
All right. To give you a little idea of what area we are serving, we are very rural. We are in Northern California, about 2 hours north of San Francisco, and across our whole district, not students, but physical living, breathing people. We've got about 90,000 in Mendocino County and about 68,000 in Lake County. Next. And this is just showing you more beauty in our region. Okay, next. A little bit more background. We do serve the greatest number of Native American students in the California Community College system. And we also serve the greatest, greatest number of Native American dual enrollment students as well. We do have a high amount of poverty in our region with the lowest median income in California. We also, as I'll show, don't have a lot of 4-year university access. So our amount of masters in our region, which are a requirement to teach a lot of community college courses, is lower than average. Our college going rate across both of the counties that we serve is also about 20% lower than the state average. Showing you again, you can click through a couple here, just the amount of distance we have from other community colleges. So our closest community college to us is over 60 miles away. And for 4-year universities, we also have a great amount of distance. So this is just giving you a picture that Mendocino College really is one of the only feasible opportunities for higher education in our region. Here is our region again. So we serve 2 counties, over 3,200 square miles. As you just saw, there is no four-year university. Can click to the next one. These are the different 13 tribal areas that are in our service area. And then in the next slide, you can see the 21 different high schools that we work with. And this, you can see how this really allows us to reach out into our region and serve our community as a whole. If we were just able to connect with folks through our main campuses, we would be having drastic distances that we weren't able to support. And just again, to understand numbers and how we're able to work with our different schools, if you take all the high school students and all of these lovely stars, that's still under 5,000 students across all of these high schools. All right. This again is just giving you a screenshot of the students we serve. We work with high schools where it's a K-12 in northern Mendocino County with as few as 9 students, all the way up to high schools with over 1,500 students. And just free and reduced lunch is showing you kind of the indication of the poverty in the regions that we're working with. As many folks have, we've seen an increase in the amount of dual enrollment over the years that we've been working together. We've been really working on dual enrollment for almost 10 years now. With initial dual enrollment courses starting with our partners here at Fort Bragg High School, and then expanding to other high schools on site, and then working in Lake County to develop a partnership to really get a focus. I know I've heard this comment before, but you start off with your random acts of dual enrollment, and then you get more focused in and make a pathway for folks. We've been able to work with other community colleges to serve other regions. And then we were able during the pandemic to expand some of our concerted efforts to support folks. And we were one of our schools was recognized as an inaugural exemplary dual enrollment award program. That's okay. We have increased in numbers as we've gone through. All right, so for our partnerships, what those kind of look like. So we started out in Lake County. If you remember the map, Lake County, the 3 schools are a little bit physically closer to each other. They're not over 60 miles away from each other. And so this was a meeting where we have superintendents, principal, high school, college counselor, college learning center, a whole bunch of key components of folks. And we meet, at that time, we met monthly. Now we've shifted to quarterly. And during the pandemic, as we're all doing today, we found that a whole world exists in Zoom. And so to be able to connect our large geographic region, we in our other areas started having Zoom meetings where we were able to connect schools that were up to 2 hours drive away from each other in the same Zoom space to work together as a team to expand opportunities for our students. And at this time, we started to develop true pathways. And we did that in concerted effort with our Mendocino College full-time faculty and Mendocino College academic counselors. We also worked with our student supports team to, in these meetings and in person, share out our available student services and academic services. So tutoring and our Native American Student Resource Center. And we'd have these folks join us as guest speakers so that high school administration and counselors could communicate to dual enrollment students and be of support and what additional resources were available. We also worked with onboarding, and this is a broad approach to onboarding. So this is supporting students, but also supporting our faculty. We were able to hire a faculty member to be a dual enrollment faculty coordinator, and that person should be launching by spring, is creating a Canvas shell that dual enrollment instructors will, moving forward, be required to take to better be able to support students. And we're having one that's going to be focused on college faculty going into the high school, and one focused on high school faculty teaching for the college. And kind of like we did when we entered the pandemic and we had requirements for distance education certification, at our school, we're going to be moving forward with dual enrollment certification in order to have a robust support system in place when that faculty member comes into the high school. We also are working on established data collection so that we can see, you know, what courses, how things are going, where students are enrolling in, what questions are popping up, and having a solidified warm handoff over to our retention and outreach team so that students can get that support after high school to explore their alternative higher education opportunities. And as far as pathway development, this is really, you know, a concerted effort with each individual high school. And so we looked at labor market projections in our region, looking at percent change, income, education requirement, and we're able to develop both career education focused pathways as well as transfer pathways. And we had that local industry communication to know if there was a certain field that they really wanted us to build a pipeline through in our different regions. And then, of course, it's dependent on who's available to teach the classes. And so that's something that we've been really working with our partners at all of our schools, but with Fort Bragg High School, they've really worked with us. And maybe, Bruce, if you want to speak to it, that when they are hiring high school instructors, they're looking as, at least in the realm of thought, that, you know, if they have a master's, we could fold them into that. Is that true, Bruce?
Yeah, we do look, and it's been great partnership with Mendocino College because I forget the faculty. Tomas could probably jump in, but I believe there's 8 of our folks currently that are teaching classes, which you know, being so we're so isolated and rural, you know, it's difficult for Mendocino College to sometimes offer classes that we want to offer. So it's been great that some of our faculty have been able to teach classes, and I think that's why we can offer as many as we do.
In our region too, it also helps. We've picked up a lot of college instructors from the high school end. Like Tomas is one of our amazing counselors, and that kind of, you know, supports on both ends. So we're very lucky to have that available. We also, when we're building these pathways, want to make sure that it is courses that students want to take as well. And so we have that connection. And then we've been able to identify and work towards developing these pathways. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple examples of these pathways. The first one we're going to be looking at is at Laytonville High School. And just to give you a scope, this is a high school with 100 high school students, and we're able to have a fully developed certificate pathway at Laytonville High School. Majority of our dual enrollment pathways start off with a college career success course that the majority of freshmen take in their first year at high school. So as they start their first year at high school, they're also starting their first year as community college students. And then at this small school, we're able to combine sophomores, juniors, and seniors into one cohort, and then they rotate through this set of courses, which culminates in an opportunity for work experience so that students are getting those good soft skills of the work world, and then they're able to enter the workforce right after graduating high school. And by participating in this certificate program, they're able to enter it at a living wage, which is what we're all hoping to accomplish. Okay. Yep, highlighting our college career success class. All right, now the stars of the show. So we've got Fort Bragg High School here, and we'll get to learn a little bit more about their pathways. Next. So Fort Bragg High School is right around 500 high school students. And when you have more students, you're able to have more options and more pathways. And so on this map, which I didn't describe fully previously, is that the orange classes are representative of high school courses. And then the blue classes are college courses or AP courses. And we've been working with our site supervisors and having future thoughts to really coordinate with 8th grade parents so that they can have access to these maps and so that they can start supporting their students from day one in high school. And I know the high school also has a version of this that they're working with students to communicate and prepare students to be successful in these courses. I don't know, Tomas, do you want to speak a little bit to that side of things?
Yeah, so at the moment right now, we're offering about 13 dual enrollment courses that our students can take throughout their journey here, 4 years with us. And it's super nice working with Mendocino College just because the fact that most of the teachers that we have here are also hired through Mendocino College. And so the accessibility for them and also familiarity with the professors, knowing that they maybe had them in another class as another, as their teacher, is nice. I think one thing that students don't have to struggle with necessarily is like the rapport that I just spoke about. So having that understanding, like, wow, like I didn't know my teacher could teach this college class at the same time. So really, yeah, what it looks like is we're working closely with Mendocino College, working with their admissions and record staff to streamline that process to get them in those classes, make it as easy as possible. With the new CCAP Form 2, we only one signature is required by a parent at the beginning of their first semester here as a freshman, and then they can continue to take classes throughout their 4 years here at the high school. Last year, we had unduplicated numbers. We had 58% of students at our school take a dual enrollment course. And we do that with what Amanda was saying. We have a lot of those students take a CCS 100 course. It's a college career and success class. So as freshmen, this is the first class that they get to take as a dual enrollment course. And it allows them to kind of get an insight into what a college course looks like, have that experience of accessing Canvas and accessing different platforms, the portal for Mendocino College, which is called My Mendo. And so that gives them the insight into hopefully motivating them to take further classes down the road. Not sure where else you wanted me to share, Amanda.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. And as you can see on this pathway map, they're getting really close to obtaining their AA while in high school. And all of the courses that we offer at the high school are on ground during the bell schedule at Fort Bragg High School. At our other schools, that is really what we strive for. We feel like the best student engagement and learning occurs in that environment. And so we do have a few options where we have very rural schools where we have online courses with on-ground support, but we find it's really important to have that organized on-ground support for high school dual enrollment students. Not always so much for the academic ability to be successful, but for support in the kind of maturity regulation of life. So we make sure that we try to coordinate additional supports on ground for any online courses we have. But with Fort Bragg High School, they are 100% on ground during the bell schedule. And we get to update all these maps very soon. They get to be CalGETSI instead of iGETSI. We love the acronyms. And as you can see here on the right, I was sharing that we're very close to that AA. So we're actually working on summer programs with dual enrollment students where we're able to fill in those gaps. And again, if students were to participate in summer programs in the 3 years that they're in high school, they would be able to finish out an AA while in high school fully through on-ground exposure to college courses. And I'll get into the summer program here in a couple of slides. So that was Fort Bragg High School, and we're able to get really close to what we're seeking there. And for that summer program, looking at all our different regions on the coast, our Fort Bragg High School, that's what I was highlighting, is on the left, the star is really close to a dark star. So they're, potentially feasibly within walking distance to our Coast Center location. Our other regions are much further from these areas. So if you go next, and yep, one more, you can see that back one. Some of our other high schools are much further, and it's really not reasonable for high school students to have the means for a summer session to drive 100 miles round trip to experience a 6-week, 4-day-a-week summer session. And so we've really been working with our K-16 collaborative and our schools to be able to provide funding to our schools, to have a driver and a vehicle to bring students to our center locations during the summer. And we piloted this in Willits this last summer, and now we're expanding it to Fort Bragg and our Lake County partners. And it's really a very wraparound partnership experience because we're working with the high schools to provide free lunch. And you can click on to the next one. And all of this, as we're always doing it, right? This is one of the things that we're always building the plane while we're flying it. And that's just how you got to run. And I always joke that the gentleman here on the left, we don't know if that's water. It may not be, but you got to enjoy the journey, right? So we keep working on things and keep revising and assessing every time we do something. There's always going to be room for improvement, and having that engagement and continuing that improvement journey is important. Next. And so we worked with our summer program to have advertisement. It's a 6-week summer program that students come to 4 days a week, where they have a set of morning classes, a set of afternoon classes, and they're able to then be able to culminate for those who've engaged in all their on-ground high school days to get that AA during their high school experience. All right. And so we have an end of term trip that we're working with. I shared about partnering with transportation. It's available for dual enrollment students. We're working with the K-16 to fund the program now, but then we're working with local fundraising agencies through our college to sponsor this going forward. It's about 10 to 15,000 per location to run this summer program. And then we're partnering with the high schools to provide that free food for students. All right, next. And so as I shared, there's morning sessions that are going from about 9 to noon, and then there's a lunch, and then we have afternoon sessions that are about 12 to 3. And we're picking courses that for each region fill in gaps in what they're able to complete during the school year. Okay. We always like data. We do lots of surveys, and for the summer program, we had comparable success rates, and the majority of students were glad that they participated in the program. Next. And so we're always learning, we're getting feedback back. And so we also at our site, which I'll explain here in a bit, we have dual enrollment ambassadors, where we actually hire high school students to be a bridge to resources from the college. We're going to be integrating these ambassadors into this program, but for our regular program, we do have student resources available there to support them and to continue to enhance the opportunities for students and that wraparound experience, both during the school day, but also available in this summer program. All right, I'm going a little bit quicker so that we follow our time. And what I think is important is through all this, we have definitely come up against things that didn't work. And I think that's almost more important to share sometimes than all the lovely things that do work. And so we recognize when things we've tried haven't been great. I know at Fort Bragg High School, we've tried those Zoom to room courses, and student engagement just wasn't there. They may be passing the class, but they weren't, as excited about it and wanting to, continue down that path. And so recognizing that what items didn't work and continuing to talk about it and revise and listen to students, because they're the ones who are going to give us the best direction and how to make this a great program for them. And here's our dual enrollment ambassador program. At the front is one of our ambassadors speaking to students about items that came up with questions quite often. How do you get into your Mendo email? How do you navigate Canvas? What student services are available? And then also moving towards working with student ambassadors to provide information to students, but also to parents, and walk through different items. We are making sure that during our different events, dual enrollment students have opportunity to get Mendocino College IDs, and we also have a welcome package, a physical welcome package for all dual enrollment students that are passed out. Equity and inclusion is also really important. We want to make sure that all students in our region have access and support to engage with dual enrollment opportunities. And in one of the first Jumpstart reports, our site was recognized as having high representation across all of the ethnic groups that we serve. All right.
Wow, thank you so much, Amanda and Bruce and Tomas. We've been recording the questions and typing out answers, but there are a few I want to get to before we wrap up here. First question, and I think this would be for Amanda. Are you willing to share the Canvas shell you use for teacher training?
Yes, we're not done yet, but once it's there, we're happy to share it. And this was actually, an item we learned at the NACEP conference. So that's a national dual enrollment conference. And there's some states that are decades in advance of where California is. So I would encourage you to engage with those. And they have lots of ideas that, are 10 steps down the road that we haven't even thought of yet. So great info to bring back.
Thank you, Amanda. This question's for all three of you. What is there a survey, or do you survey students for the courses that they want to take during the school day? And they share the participant shared. We offer them in 0 or first period, and sometimes we struggle with getting the students in those classes.
So we've done surveys before, but normally I think we kind of have a plan where it every other year we rotate courses, and it really depends on the teachers. We try to get the best. I mean, it is called the GETSI. We try to get the most courses that will benefit students to transfer to college or state. So that's what we're, really our goal is to get those courses that they can use later down the road as well. I don't know what our stats, but I think it was out of our graduation last year, 114 students that graduated, and I think we had 30 that had 12 or more units. So it's been pretty successful.
Great, thank you, Bruce. And last one, are the college IDs free for the students? And do they have to go to the college to take their pictures?
So they are free to students. We have 3 events at each of our campuses where we welcome students for a college and career event, and we take pictures on site at that time. We typically have 200 to 300 high school students attend those events, and we have availability for them to be printed. We've also discussed the opportunity of utilizing their high school photos to print IDs at the college site without having to have students come.
Thank you so much. Amanda, Bruce, Tomas, I want to thank you again for joining us and sharing about your program, your partnership. You guys are celebrating like a 10-year anniversary this year, it seems like. So lots of big things to celebrate, great work taking place. Thank you. We've typed up all of the questions. I'm going to have the presenters check these to see if they want to add anything to the answers. We'll get that out to everyone. And as we're wrapping up our workshop here today, we have an activity, very quick. It's a Menti activity. I'll drop the link in the chat. It's in a survey format, so you can either use your phone. There's 2 questions on there. Looking forward to our next workshop where we are going to focus on data and access gaps. And thank you, Amanda, for talking about equity and the data from the Jumpstart report. We'll be going deeper into that and how you can do that with your programs. So we want to go to this Menti, give you a second to scan the QR code if you want to use your cell phone. If not, click on the link in the chat while I switch over to presentation mode here. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. 1 second, sorry. Okay, hopefully we can see the Menti. Yes, I think I messed up the size of my screen. There we go. Can everyone see the Menti? Yeah, okay. So the first question, which of these is your biggest challenge with data in dual enrollment? I see you plugging away there. You can access the questions, a link in the chat. And after you answer this question, it should automatically move you on to the next question. I love that the largest slice of the pie here. We have and share data, but we aren't sure what we should be reporting or who to report it to. We will certainly be diving into that in our December workshop. We'll dive into all 5 of these, but loving the feedback. Thank you. Continue to answer this question if you haven't done so already. So there's our quantitative data we're collecting. And then for qualitative data, please use the second slide of the survey to let us know what questions you have about dual enrollment data, any questions at all, and we'll incorporate these into our next workshop. And with that, I'll bring us home here. Sorry for the ugly screen appearance. I didn't do that right. But we hope to see you all on December 5th for our Identifying Access Gaps in Dual Enrollment workshop. And if you don't have the invite already, please email Jerry or myself. We'll make sure you get that. But a huge thank you if you can use the chat when you're done with the Menti to thank our presenters for sharing their promising practices. We appreciate you so much and want to encourage all of you in the work you're doing. Thank you for being here. We will get an email out soon with the recording, the slides, and the question and answer from today, all typed up in a document. So thank you. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we hope to see you next time on December 5th.